Hello everyone and welcome to your show Around Kuwait. This is your host Abdulaziz Darwish. As usual, we share with you about the latest events and occasions happening in our lovely country state of Kuwait, and sometimes we have a distinguished guest in our episode. And before we start, I would like to greet our working crew and also my colleague Hiba. Hello Hiba, and happy to see you today.
Good day, Abdulaziz, and a great welcome to all of the viewers who are watching us today, especially in a new episode of Around Kuwait. As usual, Abdulaziz, we have different new topics and of course very important topics that we like to shed the lights when it comes into our beloved country, Kuwait. In today's episode is a very special episode. We're going to have an interview with a distinguished guest and also at the same time a great segment of Bassem Ayoub to talk and know more about what she actually prepared for us.
So today we have different episodes. We'll talk about, first of all, about the motorsport side and even about the cyberbullying. So let's go about our first segment. So dear viewers, let's go to this, our first segment. We'll have a privilege to interview the Kuwaiti drifter Ali Maqsid. Stay tuned.
We're a long way from the desert. We're halfway across the globe, very close to the North Pole. I miss the moonlight. All we have is the sun. This is as low as the sun goes, but the sun's still a blessing, can't complain. We're here to drift, and we're here to have fun, and that's exactly what we're going to do.
Ali, a very established driver in the Middle East, plenty of trophies to his name across the entire Middle East. Now he's in Europe mixing it up. Oh, and a big mistake and an uncharacteristic mistake because, to be honest, he had the hard work done.
Go hard or go home, I think. Yeah, one last chance. Let's see how it goes.
Can he hold it together this time? Nothing more than Ali Maqsid would love to be in the show tomorrow. Look at this as he absolutely pins it to the wall across the line. That is the Ali Maqsid we know. Door to door as Ali Maqsid now proves who he is. Chef Maqsid fires through the gears, big initiation on the handbrake, straight line initiation, but gets the job done now. Pushkonski starts to push up onto the side, gives him the room to manoeuvre. It's a much nicer lead from Ali Maqsid as it allows Pushkonski to tuck up on the inside, but he's on the throttle nice and early in Maqsid as he fires through almost two wheels into the grass there as he goes way wide. Pushkonski now looks for the dive off the inside, looks for the ground, gets into the outside zone, but Maqsid fires it clean off track.
I can't believe what I'm watching.
Hopefully, next round in Riga, we'll do a better job, the car will do a better job, and hopefully we see some moonlight.
Hello everyone and welcome to your show Around Kuwait. This is your host Abdulaziz Darwish. As usual, we share with you about the latest events and occasions happening in our lovely country state of Kuwait. And you know already our camera crew traveling everywhere to share with you the latest events and even occasions. And sometimes in our episode we'll have a distinguished guest who are gonna join us. We'll talk about different perspective and also different aspects. And today we are very honored and privileged to talk more about our distinguished guest. He's considered one of the proud of Kuwait, and he already raising the Kuwaiti flag high and consider about the motorsport. So please, I would like all of us to welcome that we call the Kuwaiti drifter, Mr. Ali Maqsid. Hello and welcome to our show Around Kuwait.
Habibi, thank you Abdulaziz for that very generous introduction, and thank you for having me today in this very cozy, very warm studio.
You're most welcome, and thank you so much for joining us on our show Around Kuwait. Today, I already presented to you, you are one of the proud of Kuwait because of your achievement and accomplishment, and even your dedication, always just to go there, just to focus, to make, you are one of the ambassadors of the state of Kuwait when we spoke about the motorsport and the horsepowers. So in the beginning, we want to share with you, with the viewers who are watching us through the KTV2, when did you interest in the field of motorsports?
Well, me and motorsport go way back. I actually was born into this. I've said this in a lot of interviews before, but I'm going to say this again. My father is a big motorsport enthusiast, and he used to race drag racing and superbikes, drag racing superbikes to be precise. And so I was naturally born into it. I was always with my dad around race cars and race bikes and garages. So it didn't take long for me to get a hold of a car and actually drive a car. So I started with remote controlled cars when I was very young.
It was in the beginning remote control
Yes,
cars.
because I couldn't reach the pedals. I had the small carts. My father bought me some small go-karts at a very young age, but I didn't race them. They were as a hobby, just to drive around, have fun. But I started remote control cars professionally at a very young age. I used to race here in Kuwait, and I did some international races as well. And I learned all the basics there in the remote control category, let's say.
Nice.
And then naturally I grew. My legs got longer, and I could easily reach the pedal, and
Yes.
the rest was history. So I did a lot of different disciplines of motorsport. I did motocross racing, jet ski racing, karting, and drifting stuck, and
Right.
here we are today.
So you've been in a very different fields. You experienced too many different fields, like drifting, and also the seaside and the desert side
Yes.
in Kuwait. But because today we are focusing about drifting, do you remember your first drift ever?
My first competition drift.
No, when just you turn on and turn on the car.
My first drift, I mean, I have early memories of me sitting next to my father, and like I said, my father is a big enthusiast, and he always had muscle cars and sports cars. So I used to nag and not force him, but nag until I got my way, and I told him to power slide out of turns. So he did a little drifting, and that would make my day, and that usually would make me stay quiet for the rest of the ride. So that's my early memories, and I remember when I was 13 or 14
Years old, yes.
Yes, my father had a red Ferrari Testarossa, a manual one,
Nice.
with a exhaust system, and I loved that car because it was so loud. So one day he takes me with him to work, and usually when he goes to work, I know the place, I know the facility, so I walk around usually and
Just look to the place and check everything.
yeah, and I mess around with his cars, and he usually lets me drive them inside his workplace. So I just drive them normally. With this Ferrari, because I loved it so much, I got a little carried away, and I drifted the car.
And by the way, even the walking crew, because they're always listening to us, they are curious to ask you, did you race with your father? You had a race with him?
Unfortunately not. Unfortunately not. But yeah, that was the first time I drifted the car. I mean, I got in trouble, of course, because that scared my father. I mean, imagine you being in your workplace, being busy with work, and then you hear your car rev up really high.
Directly.
So he was, I'm sure he was worried about me. But we came out, he saw me laughing and having a good time. I mean, he says this afterwards. He said a big part of me was worried, and another part of me was kind of proud and happy that and look at the confidence in this little kid to do that with that car. So I got in a little trouble, and then after that, I drifted all his cars.
Nice.
Most of them with him knowing, the rest behind his back.
So
I'm sorry,
sometimes
Dad.
so it's okay. It's a good thing. Like sometimes you're taking the key in front of his eyes.
Yes.
Sometimes you just take the key and
Yes.
you just turn on and you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
But all in the same track, like because of the safety.
Yes, it was always in a closed area. It was a private place, and it was always closed off. So there's no public roads, no cars. It was just me, tarmac and pavement. That was the worst thing that could happen, is I could break the car.
Nice. So this is the thing. Your hobby. This is like your hobby becomes your passion, becomes your career, becomes your motivation.
Yes.
So now let's go for a little bit when you talk about the family support. And instead of your father, you have your friends with you, your
course.
family supporting. How do you see their support your family and your friends also?
I couldn't have done any of the things I do today without the support of my family and friends. I mean, my friends and family are a big part of what I do, even to this day. With all the sponsors and all the recognition, I still rely heavily on my family and my friends' support, whether it's moral support, technical support, and even financial sometimes. I know I put a big dent in my family's pocket, and I really appreciate that. So yeah, it's because when I started, motorsport wasn't as big as it is today in Kuwait, especially in Kuwait and in the region. And especially the form of motorsport that I chose, drifting, is relatively new globally. So In Kuwait, it was very tiny. We didn't have a place to practice. We didn't have a place to.
But at the end, you did it for yourself, with your father and your family.
Exactly. So if I didn't have all that support, I couldn't have gotten all the skills, and I couldn't have practiced and competed. So yeah, so I owe everything I have today to my family and my friends.
That's why on behalf of our show Around Kuwait, we're sending our gratitude and appreciation to your families watching us now. And we are very proud of you and your achievement, because your achievement, also their achievement as well. So now let's go about this is like some brief about your journey in the beginning, when you were young, and how you saw it from your father's side, and you wearing his shoes, and then you started to love, and it becomes in your blood, your passion. So when you go to the France, Republic of France, and you got the silver medal, I will not ask you at the beginning how you've been in the competition. Now we're going directly to the top. Tell us more about the story when you got the silver medal in Republic of France, a different continent, and you're presenting the state of Kuwait and Asia as well. How does it feel to you?
It felt great. It was definitely one of the proudest moments of my career, and especially because I had my mother and my sister with me in that race. It was their first time to ever attend one of my events, and I guess they were my lucky charm. We all had a great time. It was super fun, and especially because I had my family with me. Second, because we were hiring a team and a car there. So we flew in. I had everything ready. The car was ready. The only thing I had to worry about, or even not worry about, but think about, was the actual driving part, which takes out a lot of the stress that comes along with motorsport. So it was a stress-free event. It was a carefree event. We had the support of the club back then, KIMC, had the support of the government. So it was a stress-free, hassle-free event that went really good. We got on the podium and we made history. And I had my mom and my sister there with me. So it was an unforgettable moment. And hopefully we get a lot more of these, and this time with gold instead of silver.
It's an amazing thing, because you mentioned like you brought your family with you. I know it's not easy when you let your families watching you. Instead, if you do have like a very big competition overseas, I know it's not easy, but because you've been there and you are much high confident and you're already expert, you know what you are doing. That's why you brought them there. But tell me the story when you saw the track first time when you're driving. You do testing. It's not easy because you're going to Europe. The weather is different. Maybe the tires are different. Maybe the oil engine are different. And the tracks, maybe in the mountains and the desert. How does it feel when you test the first time in the track?
It was definitely challenging. Everyone who competed in the drifting, that they would agree with me, because they did that in a smaller track then, because it was the event was held in Paul Ricard in France, in Marseille, and within the track we have smaller tracks, and the track that they chose for drifting was a bit smaller, narrower, and the layout they chose was very challenging, because in that very tight, narrow track you have to deal with the high speeds and
cars around you all the time.
Exactly. So it was very challenging, but the good part was that it was challenging for everyone. So it was even. No one's ever driven that track before. It was the first time they do it. So it was a nice challenge that we all had a piece.
An awesome experience.
It was an awesome experience, of course. It was an awesome experience. I would have loved to have my personal car with me, my Toyota GT86, but because of the very tight time frame that we confirmed this event, we couldn't, and we were stuck with a unfamiliar car. So it was a new track, new car,
new atmosphere, everything new. And you got the silver medal.
Alhamdulillah.
That's why we are very proud. Alhamdulillah. So, and after this kind of like a big achievement, you got already high confident, and you are the first Arab participate in Oman International Championship, Sultanate of Oman.
Not the first Arab to participate, but the first Arab or Middle Eastern to win the championship.
Yeah. How was the feeling that time?
It was great. I mean, this was bigger than France for me, because we've been competing in Oman for 5 years, and the OIDC, which is the Oman International Drift Championship, is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, drift event in the whole region. And we have some very big names that come every year.
And they are famous.
Yeah, the biggest names in drifting have shared that track, and it was an awesome experience, because we got to learn from them, see them up close, ask them questions. So that was a great help, and I think that's one of the biggest reasons why the Middle East drifting scene has elevated so much in the past few years is because of that contact and that experience. So we're all thankful to the Omani Automobile Association for hosting this great event, and they keep improving it every year. So yeah, it was a great challenge for us to win it, because in 5 years no one's ever done it from the Middle East. It's always, the first 3 years have been won by this Irish drifter, James Dean, which I mean, he's one of the biggest names in drifting.
Famous,
one of the most established drifters to ever live. So it was won by him, and then after that won by a UK driver called Steve Baggioni, and then yours truly won it after that. So we're looking forward to this year's event. James Dean's going to be back. A lot of the other drivers are back. Other new drivers from Europe are also joining. So it keeps getting bigger. The stakes keep getting higher. But now that we've established that championship, I think all the weight and tension has been lifted off.
It's already relieved.
Yes. So we're just going to be there to have fun, enjoy the experience, enjoy the company of all these international high caliber drivers, and just put on a good show for the crowd, have fun, and come back.
And also the good thing you mentioned, because you are competing with elite drifters, and you are the first Arab to win this championship in GCC country.
Yes.
Just tell us the story behind the scenes. When you are well prepared for this competition, and you already got it. So how was the felt of the Arab and the GCC and the Kuwaitis and GCC countries when they saw Ali Maqsid, he's the winner?
Yes, I mean, a lot of people were happy for me. I got a lot of support, especially from the Omani crowd. The Omani crowd is one of the biggest in the region. They're so passionate. I mean, we fill out the grandstands. We have tens of thousands of people come to that event, and we get the energy there is just crazy. So everyone was happy for me. The Omani crowd loves my cars. I used to have a Supra. They loved the Supra, and they loved the 86. It's called Sabacha, and the old one was called Aziza. They named it Aziza.
Nice.
So
they give us like a slogan and a motto for the car.
Exactly, and so it's personal to them, and it's personal to me. I never want to let anyone down. So yeah, we got the support, we won, and I also got mechanical support from my good friend Ahmed Daham. Ahmed Daham is one of the biggest names in Middle East drifting. We started around the same time. We've been friends ever since. And last season, one of the things that contributed heavily on my achievement was his support and his team's support. They were managing my car, so I had nothing to worry about. It was like France.
Okay.
I arrived in Muscat for the first time ever without having my hands dirty or having to stress about anything. They brought my car, made sure it was running properly, managed it throughout the year. Alhamdulillah, we achieved that. So I owe this heavily to them, NMK and Ahmed Daham. So yeah, all of this together contributed to our achievement and to that end result, and hopefully with their support this year and everyone else's support, you can carry on this momentum.
Amazing. This is like amazing moments in the past. I wish you all the best in the future. Dear viewers, that was like our first segment today. We already interviewed the Kuwaiti drifter, the champion Ali Maqsid. Let's go to this break. They will continue our conversation with our distinguished guest. Stay tuned. are back to our show again around Kuwait to continue our conversation with our distinguished guest, the Pride of Kuwait, the Kuwaiti drifter Ali Maqsid. Our guest today, the champion Ali Maqsid. In the beginning, before the segment, before the break, we spoke about the beginning of your journey and then about the France Championship and the Oman International Championship. Now we're going to talk more in details about Ali Maqsid, the drifter. I know like this kind of big competition and too many like racing, too many competition, too many events you already been and held. So we'll talk more about the preparation for any competition. I am an amateur and you are an expert. So if I want to prepare for any race, for any competition, tell me more how to be an expert in this field. How do you prepare for any competition?
Well, it depends on the level of competition.
Okay.
Today we have grassroots competition, entry-level competitions, semi-professional competitions, and we have the top-level competitions. So, of course, preparation for each level is different. But usually you have your physical preparation, you have your mental preparation, your focus, and all of that. You have the mechanical preparation, which is how to prepare the car for that event. And other stuff that comes along depending on the size of the team, of course, but that's usually what we do. Because I own and manage my team, then I'm involved in that kind of preparation as well. We usually rebuild the car after the season, so for the car to take all the beating of the season. So that's number one. Prepare the car, rebuild it, make sure all the parts are fresh.
This is phase one.
Yes.
Okay.
You get the car ready, and then you get the team ready. And by the team, I mean the spares, the tools, all the technologies used to set up the car, all the logistics, all the tires and all of that. So we're done for the team. Phase two.
Okay.
And then you have the media. You need to manage the media, plan everything. Let's say that's from the management part. And then me as a driver have to prepare for the event as well. So depending on where we are and the type of track, usually if it's an old layout or an old track that's been used before in previous years, we have the track layouts on a simulator. So we usually practice the layout on a simulator just to build that mind-body connection, that neurological connection, that muscle memory. It's not 100% similar to real life, but it's close enough for you to get accustomed to the track. So that's one way of doing it, of course. And you need to practice as well. So any new build, a new car needs to be shaken down and driven. So we need to pre-season testing. That's what it's called. So we do that, and that's how I practice. And I do the simulator time as well. So that's the technical
part.
Preparation. That's technical physical preparation. I also need to be fit.
I want to ask you about the physical, because in the beginning you mentioned you have to be physical ready. Tell me, you have to be fit like in a certain weight, or you have to sleep well? Tell me.
Of course. I mean, sleep, of course. There's no way around sleep. You need to have your sleep to be fresh and recovered. You need to be fit. You know, you don't need to be super fit, especially with drifting, because it's not an endurance race. Our runs don't last
it's all
very
about
long.
Here, huh?
It's very tense for that short period of time, but it's not like an endurance race. Let's say it's not a 24-hour, 12-hour race. So you don't have to be super fit in that form, but it always helps to be fit. If you have a fit, flexible body, then it will help you react faster.
Yeah,
so
like a quick response.
Yes, 100%. No one can disagree that if you're fit and agile, you would be faster. Therefore, you can perform better on track. So I try to be fit all year long. I try to prepare physically with that, and focus will come. This is, to me, this is one of the biggest things that you need to work on, is your mental capacity to focus and to perform every time, because consistency is key in all sports, and especially in motorsports. You need to be consistent, and in order to be consistent, you need to always be focused. You need to be confident in the team, in the car, and yourself, to perform in a consistent level.
So now let's focus more about the mental health. Now this is like physical. Mental health is like the huge role, because you
Yes.
always have to focus, you always have to be ready, quick reaction, quick response. You have to memorize all the labs and everything because you have to focus.
100%.
How you can to be stay focused all the time? I know like physical is different than mental. Maybe sometimes maybe you have headache, maybe you'll be a little bit tension, maybe
100%.
heartbeat is high,
Yes.
you have to eat well, you have to digest your maybe your liquid. How do you have to be like stable mental health?
Yes, 100%. Mental health is a huge topic, of course, but let's say mental preparation for our
Nice.
type of competitions.
You have to talk to yourself sometimes.
Yes, all the time, not sometimes, all the time. Visualizing is a big part of my mental preparation. Let's say I always visualize the track I'm about to drive, whether it's before the event, during the event, and even when I'm in the seat of the car, right about to go out, I always go through the track, go through the motions, all the physical things that I'm gonna do, all the visual references that I'm gonna check throughout the track, and all of that. I need to go through it. The more you go through it, the more confidence you have, and the more relaxed you are. So that's one thing you need to do. I use meditation as a form to relax my nerves, because anything can happen in a race, and especially in motorsports. A lot of things happen that are out of your control. We're dealing with a lot of different variables. You have the car that has a mind of its own. Sometimes you have gremlins that come, issues and bugs that you need to sort out.
You have to do, like you say, quick judgment also.
Of course, and this is a small part. The biggest part is your opponent.
Yes.
Your opponent is a big variable. Usually in a competition, like let's say a part of the participants you already have experience with, so you kind of know the different styles or the different approaches
He
they
been
use.
like in a different countries, maybe
Yes.
he have more experience than you. Technique, how we already turn right, turn
Yes.
left in the laps.
Yeah, but and the thing is, drifting has a style element to it. So a lot of drivers have different styles. You can do the same event but with a different style. So you have to be accustomed to that style. In drifting, we have spotters.
Okay.
So a spotter is my eyes outside the car. So a spotter is usually someone from our team that's with us in the event, that sits in the crowd, has an intercom system with me, so we're always communicating. He has an eye out.
Another vision?
Yes, to all the competitors. He watches them in practice and in qualifying, and he shares his notes with me if we're going to go against that guy. So he says, for example, this guy's aggressive, he uses a wide line, for example, this guy's not consistent.
Like we can say, he give you always instructions.
Yes, some tips of things he observed from other drivers. So that's
from
a big
the screens
help. Yes.
and from the field.
His insight is always valuable, and but it's still a big variable when you're about to, in drifting you have to always be 100%, and
Yes.
it's hard to be 100% while your opponent is a big question mark. So
Yes.
that's let's say that's the, to me personally, that's the most
Yeah.
tension I get.
So I think it's like your tension because of the field, because you have to study your opponent
Yes.
from your background perspective and your team in the control room.
Yes.
And their host and their
Yes.
place. So they always give you instructions. Careful. Maybe he's changing. Maybe he's drifting. Maybe he do technique.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, like I said, the insight is variable, but you should always be ready. Let's say my spotter tells me this guy is not a safe driver. He's slow, and he makes mistakes.
Okay.
And if I'm going to be chasing first,
You have to be careful.
it's a big risk. Let's say I give him that space. If I put that margin of risk, and he ends up performing well,
Nice.
I lose that.
Yes.
So there's you cannot go easy on anyone. So you
So
have to go, let's say not 100%, 95%, but be ready for
And
anything
cautious.
that might happen.
Yeah. Maybe
So
something happen. Yeah.
that's the thing we need to practice. That when I said you be fit and mentally prepared, you mentally be prepared for that, to react in those situations.
And also you have to talk more about yourself, and you have always to be ready and more experienced. The more you be in the field, easier for you because you are in the field all the time,
100%.
and you are the one. You are the heart of the race at the end, and you are
100%.
presenting everybody. Now, this is like we call it. Now, thank you for sharing this good information. Now we learn more about what's happening during the race. Now let's going back now, not to your team, to the drifting community in Kuwait. I know like one hat cannot Yacht Club. I know you have a strong community, good supporters from your family, your friends. But I know like there is a big community for drifter in Kuwait. I know like competition, like holding champions.
Yeah.
But I know the other drifter, maybe look, you are challenging them all the time, and they may be future heroes as well.
Yes.
Tell us more about the community here in Kuwait.
Kuwait has a very big motorsport community in general, whether it's drag racing, drifting, circuit racing, rallying. We have a big community. We are a very small country, but we have a big car culture, let's say. So when drifting started in Kuwait, started off with Drift 965. Sheikh Mohammed Al Khalid, along with his team, established Drift 965 in a place on the 7th rung that belongs to Nadi Basil Salim Sabah.
No.
So that's the first ever designated space for drifting that was ever held in Kuwait. So that was back in 2013, and we saw hundreds of people come every chance they got. So it was always crowded, and we were always surprised to see all these people sharing the same passion, wanting to learn. So drifting is huge, and throughout the year we've had some ups and downs in the industry. We didn't have a lot of consistency with events, with tournaments for people to come, and the tracks kept closing and opening. So a lot of people came in and out of drifting. But today we have, let's say, around 3 facilities that host open days weekly. So we have 3 to 4 days a week that you can practice. This was impossible back in my day.
But
today,
now everything is available.
You can practice 3 and 4 times a day. That's more than enough for you to learn and to gain experience. So we're witnessing a huge increase in the amount of drifters, and the events that will be held this year will be a testament to that. And we can see huge names and a lot of champions that are up and coming. I mean, we already have established champions in Kuwait. You have a lot of very good drivers, very skilled drivers that are competing with us everywhere, and yeah, I'm looking forward to have a bigger Kuwaiti team that would take all the trophies everywhere, inshallah.
So because you became a role model for too many Kuwaiti youth and even more, how, like, you are a role model, and you are, people always looking to you like you are one of the Kuwaiti champions. What do you want to do? You give an advice for the Kuwaiti youth. He wants to compete. He wants to be like you as an idol. What do you want to say to them?
If you want to enter the world of drifting, there is a lot of different ways to do it. There's the easy way, there's a hard way, there's the safe way, the unsafe way, the legal way, the illegal way. We always try to be safe and legal, and use the easy way. I mean, the easy way is actually the hard way, because the harder you learn, the better
get
the lesson, you know. So we're always open, not just me. I mean, when I started in drifting, I kept asking the guys that were already there, and no one hid any piece of information. They all guided me, taught me anything I wanted, helped me with the car. So it's a close-knit community. Everyone's very helpful. Everyone's open to help. So if you want to enter drifting, don't be shy. Ask any of us anything you want, and I'm sure we're all more than happy to help you. And please be safe. You should always be safe.
Safety first.
For yourself and others. Stay away from drifting in the road. That's a big no-no. You never know what happens. You never know what you can get yourself into. So that's the number one thing. Stay off the roads. We have nice facilities that are prepared for drifting. You can do it safely. You can enjoy it. People can enjoy it. They can come and watch without you having to risk anyone's life, and even yours. So yeah, everyone's welcome to ask us and talk to us, and we're more than happy to help.
And even in the future, because you in the beginning you mentioned like for this year we are planning for other international championship. What about your future agenda? We are preparing for big competition for this year. Now we are in the beginning of 2024. What about your next competition we are preparing for?
February is going to be a very busy for us. We have 4 competitions in February. The first competition will be on February 2nd at Kuwait Motor Town. It's an event called Red Bull Car Park Drift, which is the Kuwaiti qualifier for the Red Bull World Finals. That's going to happen in KMT on Friday. The Friday after, it's Oman Round 1, which is the OIDC Championship we were talking about, the International Championship. That's the next week, which is on the 8th. The week after is round 2, and the week after is round 3. So I have 4 weekends back-to-back competitions, which is not that easy, but I'm looking forward to it. And after that, hopefully we're gonna do the Drift Masters European Championship. We did 2 rounds last year as a wild card, and we're hopefully aiming to do a full season, hopefully starting in May up to September. And then we have the FIA Motorsport Games, which is the 3rd version of the event we won in France.
Nice.
That's going to happen in Valencia, Spain on October.
Nice.
So that's the plan for next season.
We can say all the time, our guest, the Kuwaiti drifter Ali Maqsid, good times run very fast.
Yes.
We didn't fill the time. Thank you so much for joining us today. We reached the final lap for today. Inshallah, next time we'll be here in the studio. We'll talk about your next achievement with gold medals for all these competitions.
Inshallah. Inshallah. Thank you for having me.
You're most welcome. We are speaking to the Kuwaiti drifter Ali Maqsid. He already sharing with us in the beginning of this episode about his journey when he was into this field, and he's following his father for troops and he's wearing his shoes. Then he talked about his family support and his friend support. Then he spoke about how already preparing for his competitions, and the story about when he got the silver medal for the France competition, and he won the first Arab in the also Oman International Championship, and the story behind it is sometimes secrets behind the scene, how he's preparing for the big events. This is like our episode for today. Hope you enjoyed for our first segment for this episode for Around Kuwait. Let's go to this tiny break. They will continue to show Around Kuwait, the same episode. Stay tuned. We are back to our show again, Around Kuwait. The reviewers watching us through the KTV2. Now, after our distinguished guest, we already spoke to him about his skills, and he was proud of Kuwait, the Kuwaiti drifter Ali Maqsid. So today, our episode filled with too many different segments.
Yes.
In the beginning, we interviewed the Kuwaiti drifter Ali Maqsid. He spoke about his journey, and now we're moving about different aspects of it.
Yes, indeed. So in this segment, talking more about Bassem Al-Ayoub, and especially focusing about cyberbullying. You know, especially nowadays when we're talking about teenagers, and even to be really precise, Abdulaziz, talking more about even adults. We have this kind of bullying that's actually happening and being associated in that matter, especially when it comes into our life and directly when you're talking about workspace, whether in school, whether in your office, and so much more. There's always a bullying side that's happening, whether it's cyberbullying or let's say verbal bullying, a lot of things that's happening in that matter. So in this segment, we're going to know more with Bassem Al-Ayoub, specifically about cyberbullying, maybe the effect of it, how people could be really affected easily, especially when you're talking with children, you know, with kids, teenagers. They are very vulnerable. They have this kind of problem on daily use and base, and people would always say that this kind of phase is new to us. But to me, you know, I've always seen it back in the days. Nowadays, maybe it become, let's say, developed with all of the development that happened. So it became not only bullying, but also on the cyber level itself.
And even in addition, the well said from you, Hiba. So this is like our first, we'll go for next topic with our also, we'll call it Bassem Al Ayoub. We'll talk more about, she already spoke to us and sharing about her segment, about her topic, about the cyberbullying. Let's go now to this break to know more about this segment. I will be right back. Stay tuned.
What is cyberbullying? Welcome to By Balsam segment. So everyone knows that this is a very important topic today and everyone is talking about it, which is the cyberbullying. Cyberbullying is something very, it's a hate speech, is painful. It really makes people get really upset and affect their life in a very painful way. So we have a lot of situations we had witnessed or we had experienced cyberbullying. So how can we teach our kids, especially, to face this situation, and how can we protect them from it, and how can we let them be aware of what exactly to do when this situation, they be in this situation. So one, we have to explain to them that not everyone online is your friend, and not everything you can share online. There is moments or things which is very special that you have to keep it to yourself or your very close circle, and there is things that you can share it in public. Second thing, that you cannot trust people online behind the screens who you don't know who they are. Some people pretend that they are someone else and then they want to get out of this relationship, something to abuse the other part, which is you. So you have to teach your kids how to be aware, how to be focused, and how to really protect themselves from those kind of psycho people who really affect their life in a very bad way. So cyberbullying had really get a very high attention from the UNICEF. And UNICEF had created a very beautiful manual for parents especially to talk about this with their kids. You have to explain to your kids how they can face those situations. And you have also to be prepared that you know how to deal with your child if he had been in this situation. So when we talk about, let's say, an example, one of the girls, she posts a picture in her Instagram or one of her accounts in social media, then someone with her in the school had abuses her picture in a very bad way. They create something on it, they change her face look, and then they repost it again and they just spread it to the community in the school. She will definitely get bullied and she will definitely have a very hard time. Most of the kids, they think if they just shut down the mobile or shut down the computer, they will just end the problem. The problem will never end in that way. And she will go to the school and she will face this challenge on the second day and she will get depressed. Some kids, they go into the level they cannot really face this challenge and they cannot talk and they just close their sorrows inside them and then they do suicide. We have heard a lot of stories where kids couldn't deal with those situations and with the cyberbullying. So this is my advice to the teenagers and the kids especially, because they are the most affected people who get the cyberbullying affection inside them. And first of all, when you get into a situation where you get a cyberbullying, first you have to find someone you can trust and talk to him about this problem. Second, you have to share this problem with your parents, and you have to choose the right time to talk about the problem. Not while they're busy, not while they're dropping you to the school or taking you back home. You have to sit down and ask your mom and dad, I want to talk to you, I have a problem, and share with them what you had been through, and definitely they will find for you a solution where they can protect you. Third, you have to share also what you had learned with your friends, and you have to talk about it. And there is no matter if you want to go to someone who is specialized in mental health or a life coach, where you can share with them all the things that go on inside you. And it's okay. It's okay to get affected. It's okay to get emotional, but don't let this situation control you. Don't let the situation or this problem destroy your life. It's over. When it's happened, it's over. It is not over because it's online, but you can make it over and start again. And this problems happen sometimes in life, but we have to know how to manage our emotions, and we have to own our mental health toughness. Our mental toughness is very important to face those problems and to get over them. And every time that you had a problem, please share it with your parents or share it with your teacher in the school, because also teachers can help you to get over this problem with the best solutions. Your friends are in love with you, they really care about you, but they might not have the experience to deal with the problem or the situation that you're in. So wish you all the best, and wish you a great life, and wish you that you will really not be in a problem where you have to challenge yourself in cyberbullying. And also advise your friends that cyberbullying is something very bad, and we all have to stop it. Thank you so much.
And we're back, dear viewers, after this great segment and such a great advice and words given by Balsam El Ayoub, especially when it comes into cyberbullying and on that specific topic.
That's why we like to thank her about her efforts to sharing about very most important topic, which she spoke about the cyberbullying. Before it was like we call it bullying, and now because for the new technology and the new AI and the new systems happening, it becomes more technology for the cyberbullying, unfortunately. But the good thing, people now are aware of this kind of crime.
Indeed. And with that, dear viewers, we reach towards the end of today's episode. Such a great kind of phase we had in the episode, having an interview and segment. And I'm very sure, Abdulaziz, even the viewers enjoyed watching you with the drifter that we had previously.
We are privileged to interview the Kuwaiti drifter, Mr. Ali Maqsidi. We is considered one of the proud of Kuwait. He already got too many events, too many medals. He was one of the great ambassador of the state of Kuwait.
Indeed.
We are privileged to interviewing him, and he talk more about the techniques and behind the scenes stories, how he's preparing for the competitions, and even more.
Indeed. And of course, finally, we had Balsam El Ayoub talking more about cyberbullying and how effective it is when it comes into lots of generation. And of course, we have to really consider the kind of words that we use and not to be a bullier in that matter. So, I mean, we reached towards the end of today's episode.
So, dear viewers, we reached the end of our episode for today. Hope you enjoyed our segment. See you next time. Have a great day.